Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill, and today I'm live at work, and we're going through. I think I'll turn this into a 3-part miniseries, maybe. But we're sticking on the track of getting deployments to run from when we do a Git push. We have a Git hook in place, or not a Git hook, but a web hook in place, and then we if the branch matches a certain name, then we deploy it. And so I have got that mostly working now, and we're just gonna keep going. So that's that. But before we get too far, my disheveled hair. Let's clean up. Yeah, that worked great. That worked wonderfully. That had exactly the intended effect, as you can see. All right. Anyway, but let's have a word from our sponsor, but not really our sponsor, Mr. Mountain Dew, because it is time to open focus. Yeah. Got to start the morning right, you know? Okay. So, let me kind of get caught back up with where I was yesterday. So I've got the script mostly done. I'm just going to go into, if I can go in all the way here where it is and get on the right branch. Let's see. Let's just do a fetch all. It's going to bring a lot of stuff down. Okay. And let's see. I'm going to remove my local branch. Well, let's see. I'll just check out my local branch AJ here and do a get pull. By the way, let me check the chat here. Who's on the stream? Hello, welcome. Nice to have you. Feel free to say hello, ask questions and the like. Whoops! Oh, that would hit the other terminal there. Okay, let's see what's happening. You know what? It was kind of interesting. I actually could almost watch on this screen what I'm doing on this screen on the replay. It's almost big enough for me to see everything there. All right, so AJ's up to date. So this is what I've got. This is what I've got going on. So here I've got a bunch of scripts, and I ended up refactoring a tiny bit. I don't know if it's really the right thing to do, but I just put these functions. So I've got the DO API. That's DO, not do. DO for DigitalOcean. And so this is just a wrapper so that I'm not repeating these several lines of bash over and 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 over again. And then I've got the same thing over here with GoDaddy API. I have GD API, which is not gosh darn. It's GoDaddy. I'm ashamed to admit it, but alas, it is true. And I ought to get Cloudflare in there as well, because we have production actually is on Cloudflare. So right now, I need to make sure essentially production should not run the same things yet. There's a few things that production should run differently because the database is different, and as we progress things through the pipeline, I mean, ideally, production would always be based off of staging, but in reality, there's hotfixes and stuff, you know. And my philosophy is, rather than, some people say, well, production is truth, and everything has to be rebased off of production in order to move forward. And I think that gets a little bit messy. So what I would rather say is production is essentially a tag that you deploy to over and over and over again. But production's a branch. It's not a tag. Production's a branch, and you can apply hotfixes. The hotfixes should get applied elsewhere. But when you push, sometimes the hotfixes that go into production are not really necessary for the other environments anymore, because the other environments have gone ahead. Ideally, you know, of course, this doesn't happen because ideally everything goes in the ideal way. But I'm more of a fan of master is truth, or main is truth, whatever. and then when things have been tested and everything's ready to go, you put it into main and then overwrite production with main. I may change my mind on that, but that's the way I'm doing it right now. Anyway, so we've got the little bit of API script for DigitalOcean and GoDaddy, and then I have this VPS script. This is what we did last time. So I just source in DigitalOcean and GoDaddy, and then I've wrapped a few things in functions now. Well, the entire do create is now its own function. And we check to see if a branch starts with dev hyphen, and if it doesn't, then we exit. I guess we shouldn't exit 1 there. That's not what we should do. We should exit 0. And really, if this is, it depends on whether or not this is being sourced in. So let me check and see, where do I got this? Git deploy. Yeah, I'm sourcing that. If you're going to source something, you should just expose functions. So I'm doing it wrong. So I really, okay, but I know the reason that I did it this way. The reason that I was sourcing it is so that I don't have to re-export variables that are used here. So let's see what variables are used here. I guess it's the DigitalOcean. Yeah, that's... Let me think on this for a second. I think I do want to change this. Well, whoops, not this one. Git deploy. Okay, I don't want to source this. I want to run bash. The problem is that then I do need to re-export a couple of things. So I need to export DigitalOcean token equals the same. Or I guess I can just do the export like this. Was it GoDaddy API key, GoDaddy API secret, and then there's a Cloudflare one that we'll need to do as well. So I'm just going to put to do, and then we'll need to have Cloudflare API, and I don't know what it is, whether they call it token or secret or whatever, but something. Okay, so that should continue to work. And some of the stuff is a little bit specific to our deploy environment. I'll walk you through it in a bit. But let me just finish going through here. Okay, so we've got the scripts that have the API as bash functions. System is system setup. So if we take a look at that, this is just, we use LibreOffice for some of our document conversions. Also considering, there's one called UnoConv. I got to figure out why we use what we use and if there are some acceptable alternatives, because OpenOffice is huge. You're essentially downloading the entire desktop environment when you install OpenOffice, even if you're only using the command line tools, because the command line tools are part of the main thing. Maybe we could section that off in some way. But yeah, to install the command line tools for OpenOffice, it essentially goes from being an Ubuntu server instance to being an Ubuntu desktop instance. Tons of dependencies. And then normal stuff here with just tools from Webby. I think there was something else I wanted to put in here, but I don't remember what it was. I'll find it out eventually. Anyway, that's the system setup. Hey, I see some people are joining in. I'm AJ. Who are you? What brings you to the stream today? Would love to know. Okay, then we've got the VPS one I just showed, and I think I'm gonna rename. This is the problem with putting numbers in scripts to signify here's what happens first, is then you get into the situation where you say, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I need to rename all of these. Maybe I'll just do that now. Maybe I'll just, well, no, I don't want to do that right now, because then I have to go rename where they're used and all that. But essentially, I want some designation for these are just things I source. They don't actually get run. This is something I run. I run these to set up the system. Yeah. Anyway, I think I don't remember if I was live or not when I was going through this, all of this. Oh, huzzah! Oh, and that whirring noise is going to go away now because my DVD backup is done. I've been running a backup of the Russian version of Cars 2 because it has the Latvian soundtrack on it. And we are educating our children in Latvian because that is their mother tongue. Whoops. There we go. So in the way that I'm doing that is I'm just buying DVDs and Blu-rays from Russia and ripping the soundtracks so that when my kids are watching their brains out, watching TV, they're not running their brains out. They're learning their mother language. Okay. Yeah. So I'm at this point, I think... Oh, do I have the manual deploy here? No, I don't. I need to go grab that from my other computer real quick. I'm just going to dig out my other computer. Carrot Apple. Oh, you're from Lithuania. That's so cool. Hey, buddy. Can you get me Latvian media? Because most of the Lithuanian discs have Latvian on them as well, right? Do you use Go3 and Tet Plus to watch movies and stuff? I just got a subscription to Tet Plus, and that one doesn't require a VPN. Hey, look, I'm not the one that's learning Latvian. My kids are. Braliukas. Is that how you say brother or buddy? Buddy is actually brother, I think. I'm pretty sure it's because if you go down south, it's Bubba. And I think buddy comes from Bubba. I'm not 100% sure. Bud also could be as in flower bud. My child, my offspring, my bud. I'm not sure. I'll have to look up the etymology on that. But anyway, I've got here... I haven't opened this yet. You're seeing it the first time I'm seeing it, but I'm going to do a setup video on this probably. So this is it says travel router, but that's not what I got. I may have gotten the wrong thing. This may have delivered me the wrong thing. This is, oh, okay. They're calling it travel router. It's a VPN box. I guess it's also a Wi-Fi extender or something, but you plug it in and then you get the VPN and then you can get the European content and whatnot. Like it's like Little Brother. Yeah, that seems because Leel's is small. Lucas, which part is what makes it Little Brother? Is it the Kas at the end that makes it little, or is it the Bra at the beginning that makes it little? I'm guessing Brali is brother because I think in Latvian Turir tavi brali. There's a song about a potato. It's kur something. It's my wife chants it to our kids sometimes. It's a little fun song about Mr. Potato, where is your brother? And I think Brali is brother. Anyway, that's so cool. That is so cool. That's neat. What is it? I think my brother-in-law's wife is Lithuanian, but they speak Russian to each other. Something like that. Anyway, back here on the scripts. Oh, and I created a rumrough script to undo all that has been done. Well, kind of, sort of. It doesn't undo all that has been done. And there's probably some other things I should put in here as well. Let's say... Oh yeah, it already does that. Rumrough local. Okay. But I'm trying to encapsulate how to undo the entire setup as well so that you don't have to reform the instance. But the instance... It takes about 30 to 60 seconds to form and be ready to access, but doing the other installations, the MySQL and meaning MariaDB and the LibreOffice and all that take quite a bit of time. Anyway, I was opening up this computer so that I can grab a script off of it that I was working on yesterday that I didn't commit to the repository. So give me just a second to copy that over here. And then we're just going to continue from there, and I'm going to try setting up a system. So all right, cool. Now I've got it. So I should be able to grab from my downloads folder, manual deploy. Here we go. All right. So we've got our clone URL. This is just some of the stuff. So I've got a Git Deploy script. So Git Deploy is like GitHub Actions, but an open source that I built with a buddy. And let's see if I can make this a little wider so we can see it a little better. But you can, webinstall.dev/git deploy if you want to see the cheat sheet for it. I should probably update it. There's probably I think there's some additional functionality it's been given since we last did it. But you create a Git Deploy script, and in Git Deploy, you label the repo as trusted so that it can run Git Deploy scripts. Because you can either have the Git Deploy scripts be on the Git Deploy instance and not in the repo at all, or you can have them be in the repo, but then you just need to list that repo as trusted, because any webhook that comes in, it'll try to authenticate and run. And so you have to restrict it. Anyway, so in essence, what this does, well, let me go up to the top here, is it has the git ref name, git repo ID, and a couple of other git underscore variables. Let's see what else we got. Git clone URL. And it's already cloned by the time this thing runs, obviously, because otherwise it wouldn't have it. So there's a handful of variables that are passed in from Git Deploy. And so if I want to run this manually as a one-off, then all I need to do is assign the variables that are used in the script there before I run it. And so that's what this is. And then I've got my subdomain, because in the Git Deploy script right now, I have the zone set up already. But if I hadn't done that already, then I would put the zone here. And I'd pass that in to this. And then all this is not really necessary. That's if we were going to, well, I guess we could do this now. While I was figuring it out, I was just running it directly from the directory. I wasn't necessarily pushing up to the branch to have it check out, to have the deploy scripts. I was running the deploy scripts locally, but I can actually move this back to where, well, soon, because I'm not 100% done with it yet. But when I'm done with it, then all this stuff down here, which I'll just put further down so that we don't have to deal with right now. I didn't like that. Let's see. Let's try that. Braliukas. Okay. And I don't actually want to exit 1. I want to exit 0. That's just fine. Yukas. Okay. Bral. Kuritavi brali. My satup. Gosh, I used to have it memorized. I'm going to have my wife tell it to me again. But I think it's a song about vegetables in a pot. And the song is directed at a potato. And the person singing, hey potato, where are your brothers?" And then the potato responds, in the pot, they're cooking in the pot. You know, just a little song about soup. But I think it's also kind of a tongue twister to help develop language skills, I'm guessing. Anyway, so I can now, if I were to do dev XYZ, we'll see here, then this should deploy a subdomain XYZ. So we're going to test this out right now and see if everything's working. And it's going to take a few minutes. This is kind of at the annoying part where it's a little bit difficult to test it without testing the whole thing. The individual pieces have pretty much been tested, and now I guess I could, when I find out what's wrong, if there's anything wrong, if this doesn't work perfectly. The last deploy didn't work perfectly, but I didn't understand why, so I'm running it again. It seemed that one of the system services didn't start. Okay, so I know why that is. So I need to copy over. I need to have a better way of doing this, because on the deploy server, we have the way that we do the environment variables is that there's a directory with the environment variables, and it copies over the necessary ones when it creates the build, the directory for the server. So, but I can copy this over real quick. And I only put the development stuff on my local machine. I don't even want to do that, but for the purposes of testing this out, it is a necessary evil. Okay. Bump, 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 bump. All right, and that shouldn't be a problem. Hey, welcome. I'm AJ. I would love to know who you are, those of you joining in. Also, as you're coming and going, if you do at any point find that you learned something, that something was valuable for you, I appreciate a thumbs up. Otherwise, you know, if you just want to leave because the channel sucks, give it a thumbs down, because every thumb helps, and it never hurts to be kind. And if you like more of what you like, get more of what you like and subscribe and click all the things and yada, yada, yada. And more importantly, share. That's the thing that I never ask, but I ought to. If this is valuable, share it with someone that would also find it valuable. But right now, we're going through. Oh, really? Oh, I must have. Let's see. I must have. When I was testing the Webby stuff the other day, if you were on the stream for that, I deleted a bunch of the tools from my local directory or my local install here. And so I actually need to go check under the scripts. Let's see. All of this stuff should be installed on here. It's not all necessary for this system. But you know what? You know what I need to do? As part of the Git Deploy script, that should be in there. Really, I'm going to go update the Git Deploy script. So we should have I'm going to call this function local deps, and we should have if it's empty to do command-v sd, then. And we could do this like this as well. Export path equals home dot local bin path, and then curl web install dot dev bash. There we go. And we could have a few of these, so that before I do anything, okay, local deps, is that what I called it? All right. And I also had a delete script. Where did I put that? I think I actually had that right here. I think I had delete droplet, and I also had it delete Domain prefixes. Oh, okay. I've got a lot of domain prefixes I probably need to delete then. So we're going to run this a couple of times. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to run this a bunch. We're going to start at 0 and go to 7 on this, I think. I probably just need to do, let's see, I could probably do prefixes. AJ0, AJ1, AJ2, AJ3, AJ4, AJ5, AJ6, AJ7. And then I could do for my domain prefix in my domain prefixes, and we'll just see if we can delete all of the domains here. That's kind of nasty, but what do you do? And then I guess we would do dev as well. Okay. There we are. All right, and then let's try running this again. Manual deploy. Oh, hello to those of you joining in. Lots of people joining in today. So I am working on some deploy scripts. So I've just got some bash scripts and a DigitalOcean token and a GoDaddy token. I don't recommend using GoDaddy. I recommend name.com. I think there's an affiliate link in the doobly-doo for both DigitalOcean and name.com. The DigitalOcean one should give you $100 or 60 days, whichever comes first, off of your account. And then I get a $5 kickback on that if you pay the following month or something, I think. And then the name.com one, I unfortunately, you don't get any deal from it. But if you use it, then I get a $5 kickback or something when you purchase a domain, or it might not even be that much. I don't know what it is. But in any case, if you want to use those are what I recommend and what I use for myself. But we have GoDaddy because stupid. Not stupid, because ignorant. Because ignorance. Not stupid as a person, but ignorance as a concept. Because a lot of times when people don't know any better, whatever's been marketed the most is what they choose, sadly, but not unsurprisingly at all. Okay, so let's see, did that work? Yes, that was copied over. So now I'm going to go from downloads, I'm grabbing another .env file, and then we should be able to do this again. So let's try this again. Deploy, deploy, deploy. So, Carrot Apple, if you're still on, what do you do right now? What's your main job? Actually, that goes for all of you. What are you node devs? Are you DevOps people? Do you dabble in Go and Rust? If you're full-time in Rust, be sure to let me know if you're hiring, because we have Rust devs in the community. Not the, not necessarily digital. Did I spell that wrong? Digital. Maybe I need to put a hyphen under there. I have to check that out in just a second. Maybe it's DigitalOcean API token. Not in the Beyond Code community, but in my community here in Utah, we have a lot of Rust developers, and there's a number of companies that are hiring in Rust here, but it's not a big number yet, and so the variety is really small. So if you're not interested in what that particular company does, then maybe it's not something you want to leave your current position for. I am very interest-based. I like to, pick my company. My company's based on my interests. DigitalOcean token. DigitalOcean token. So what is this complaining about? DigitalOcean token. Let me double check here. Okay, Git Deploy. I think the problem is the sourcing versus the bashing. There we go. That's it. DigitalOcean token. Need to be one word. That was indeed the problem. Ooh. Continuous Improvement Coordinator at Mars. What is Mars? Other than the planet Mars. But whenever you name something Mars, it just sounds cool. Well, I'm glad that you're learning to program. Feel free to ask me any questions. And I do recommend creedsofcraftsmanship.com for software engineering, learning software engineer in general. And I do have a link to that in the doobly-doo. Oh! Mars bars. The candy factory. Yeah, Snickers, Mars bars. Okay, got it. Well, that's cool. What does a continuous improvement coordinator do? So that sounds so ambiguous. That could apply to the product, which I imagine you don't change the product very much. That could apply to the assembly line. That could apply to a lot of things. And by the way, there is a little bit of delay. It seems maybe a little longer than usual today, as I'm noticing between when I say something and when the comments pop in. And hello to those of you joining in. I'm AJ. I am working on deploying stuff. So I've created a bash script that deploys domains to DigitalOcean. And I think I actually have a bug here because well, we'll have to check. Dev XYZ. And did it set dev XYZ? Okay, so what it's done, sorry, I am a non-linear thinker. They have a divergent thinker. I'm a divergent thinker. So I don't necessarily think linearly. No relation to the movie or any of the concepts therein. But so what's happening is it first was checking the DNS records using the API key to see if a record existed for this. If it does, it's going to assume the VPS is there and it's going to skip the provisioning step and try to log in. That way we can have long-running dev instances as well. We don't have to have them just be short-lived, and we don't have to be creating a new one every single time we deploy, but we can have a dev instance that is set up and provisioned. And here it's doing the provisioning new VPS step. It goes and grabs the keys from the DigitalOcean API. This was in the last 2 sessions. We went over creating all of this stuff. Then once it creates the droplet, it's waiting to get the IP addresses, which normally is instantaneous, but sometimes might take 10 to 30 seconds. So it's just polling to get IP addresses. It gets the IP addresses, in this case, right away. And then it's checking for the status to change from new to active. And then once the status changes to active, then it starts trying SSH connection. So active means that the system is at least booting up. So new means that it's still being provisioned. The hard drive is still being written to, essentially. When the status goes active, it means that the network connection is active and the system is at least booting up, but it doesn't mean that SSH is active yet. So we can see, I just have it in a loop testing an SSH connection a few times until it eventually connects. And then it starts running the scripts that add the SSH keys. Well, actually, it's not adding the SSH key. It's creating a user app and giving that user the same SSH keys that it was provisioned with, public keys. And then it's going on to install other things. And so it goes on to install other things. And then it is copying over I believe in this case it's copying over from my local file system because this is not on the build server. I'm testing locally before I push to the build server. Why in the world do we have Babel? That's odd. We should not still have Acorn or Babel. Maybe I haven't done an npm CI here. I have to check that out because for our server, we do not have Babel anymore. There was a time when the person who originally set it up had it in TypeScript, and when I came in, I said, hey, let's get rid of that. Well, it was quasi-TypeScript. It was ECMAScript, whatever. It wasn't. It was just a few places where features that break the language were there, but nothing of value was there. Nothing that actually helped us to code better or anything. Anyway, so I said get rid of that so that our deploy process could be simpler. Okay. So I wonder what's going on here. This seems really weird. Broken pipe. That sounds like the network connection failed. Client loop. Send to disconnect. I'm going to check on what that might mean. That could just be a network hiccup. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to go over to my delete droplet. And we're going to delete everything again. So we should see the dev XYZ pops up. So it's taken a little while because it's checking for each of these. I probably should put a checking for and then a deleting or deleted. Okay, so in my manual deploy, let's go ahead and give this thing. I think what's happening is I'm truncating the name from dev XYZ to just XYZ, and I bet that's why it's a problem. So let's just call this AJ0 again. And then I will work on that little bit. Let's try deploying this, and I'm going to open up another window. Actually, I'll just open up a tab. And then I'm going to go back into that directory. And I'm going to go back into the server directory. And then I'm going to take a look at my Git deploy and where I'm cutting the branch name. Okay, this is where, so if my subdomain prefix is -dev, I don't think we need to cut it. Let's see. If my sub is not empty, and git ref name pipe to this. I think I'm just going to comment this out for now. I think this is actually all wrong. Let me go back up here. Where's my sub? My sub is whatever we pass in. No, this makes sense because we might want to deploy the sub separately. So just got to make sure that that's done right. So what should this be? Okay, this is saying if my sub is empty and my git ref name starts with this prefix dev hyphen, then my sub is going to be the git ref name. So right now, if I'm looking at the manual deploy, git ref name is AJ, which is the current branch that I'm developing this deploy system, the scripts for the deploy system in, directly in the repository. And then we're saying my sub is AJ-0. And so, let's see what I'm doing here. So I'm checking out comments too. Heavy and lean methodology from Toyota. Yep. It's a nit wishy-washy day-to-day. But I also like to improve, automate things. Basically, just seek for ways to improve staff's life. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of the methodologies, if people didn't invent them, I think they don't follow them well because it becomes a buzzword of, oh, increase profits and ROI. But you have to believe it in your heart in order to carry it out, because Toyota didn't do it because it was a business practice. They did it because they believed it. And I think that's something that often gets lost in business and in management is people try to create culture by writing words on a board. So the book Tribal Leadership is what made me think about this in this way. But people want to put words on a board and say, these are our company values. But you don't get company values by proclaiming them. You get company values by believing them and living them. And so the lean methodology is not simply a methodology of follow these steps. It's something that it's a philosophy that you believe in and you live. So I could see that it could be a bit wishy-washy from day to day because everybody has to believe in it for it to work. Well, not everybody has to believe in it, but you know what I'm saying. The ethos of it have to be carried, not the words on the board. Which kind of brings me to programming. I work a lot with programmers, and at the moment, I am a creator of ideas, but I want to transition also to execution. That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the best way to learn a program. It's the fastest way to learn a program, is to have your own idea of how things are supposed to be. Okay, so yeah, I think everything's going well here. So this should end up with this should end up right. It's kind of hard to read Bash. It's kind of hard to read any programming. Okay, so it broke again at the exact same place. So this is probably, I have another idea for what's going on here. And my other idea is that it's maybe this actually finished, but it's a domain name. I don't know. What could it be? So it's not actually making it very far, all things considered. So it gets through here. It's only making it partway through the node modules when it fails. So I'm going to try running this step in particular and seeing if I can understand what's going on there. Because I think something is indeed failing. So first of all, let me see if I can just SSH into what was provisioned. So I think it's AJ0 is what was provisioned. So let's see if I can just SSH in. Yeah, I can. All right, let's see. And we've got most of the stuff, all of the stuff here. It looks like everything's there. Doesn't look like anything's missing. So, broken pipe. I'm going to Google this. This just seems strange. Oh, you know what? If you remember the other day, I said, I'm going to turn on jumbo packets and see what happens. And I said, remind me that I've turned on jumbo packets if I have any network errors, because it may be because I turned on jumbo packets. I'm going to turn off jumbo packets, and we're going to try this again. If you get strange network errors after turning on jumbo packets, always blame jumbo packets. You will never not be disappointed. I'm also going to turn off the Wi-Fi just so there's no confusion there. And then let's double check the jumbo packets are actually turned off. Okay, we're back down to standard packets. We're going to go back to automatically configure and apply. Because jumbo packets theoretically make your network go faster, but lots of software is programmed in strange ways, especially at the network layer over different routers as you're going through cloud systems and whatever, to expect non-jumbo packets, even though they've been running 10 gigabit for the last 10 years. It seems like their MTUs should be jumbo size, but they're often not. But I am going to check and see. Another reason is when my Wi-Fi or internet disconnects. Harmless message. Client alive interval. Client alive interval. So, yeah, I'm gonna guess that it's because I switched to jumbo packets. But we'll find out. Okay. So let's do this again, but we're gonna try dev XYZ. Well, we're gonna try dev ABC. That's what we're gonna do. Everything should work. But I will also try over here, I'll try the exact step that failed. So I believe that was this rsync. No, not this rsync. This rsync. No, this rsync. This rsync. Which rsync is it that failed? Not deploy kit. Copy self. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to try it out. So instead of my service name, this is going to be Savvy REST 1. And instead of my host name, this is going to be AJ0. Ugh. Hate dependencies, especially junk transpiler dependencies and utility library dependencies. Utility libraries are the devil's playground. All right, let's see what else we got here. Nothing. I see again, we got, people coming and leaving. As you come and leave, thumbs up if you find any of this useful. Thumbs down if you don't. Welcome to the channel. And I'm AJ. I'd love to know who you are and what brings you here. Okay, now this wasn't a fair test because I didn't have my jumbo packets turned on. I'd already fixed the problem. But I'm going to guess that that's what it is. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about something. Let's do it. Paralysis analysis. You answered my question about how to differentiate yourself in today's market. Help me to find focus. Great. But I still in the trap of enormous amounts of information on the web, whether tutorials, text editor wars, language choices, etc. So, of course, I'm going to tell you, listen to what I say and ignore the other stuff and move forward. Do you ever find yourself in situations or found in the past? Oh, wait. I missed a comment there. Everyone has to suggest something, and since I did not grow up with programming, nobody did. I mean, there's a few people that did. I feel it's easier to persuade me, but it's also something that clearly takes time away from actual coding. Do you ever find yourself in situations or found in the past? How do you deal with it? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Analysis paralysis is a big deal. One thing that I would say from the business perspective that will help with this is think about it in terms of your time. So think about how much you make per hour presently, okay? And think about the time that you spend in terms of your current hourly rate. And if you were to do contracting, you have to think about it in terms of twice your current hourly rate. But just put money as part of the decision-making process. How much money does it take me to make this decision? And again, generally, you probably want to estimate your time value as twice your money value. And what this leads me to nowadays, and of course I do have some extra income. I am still trying to save for a house because after all these years working with startups and stuff, I've never saved as much as I should have. But I try to put things in perspective of how much does it cost in terms of twice my day job rate. And is it worth it to be pursuing that versus purchasing something that is likely to be really, really good? So, for example, there's 1 million $20 courses on Udemy. There are a few courses out there that are in the realm of $1,000 or more. So if you have to spend time picking between a bunch of maybe okay, maybe mediocre courses on Udemy, and a course that cost $500 or $1,000. Think of it in terms of your time. Do you save more time just going with the one that is by someone who's more reputable and costs more? And I'll give an example of this. Kenzie Dodds. Kenzie Dodds has a course on React. It's probably the course that you should get on React if you wanted to learn React. I want to create a course, but I am such a divergent thinker. It is hard for me to get things in a linear fashion. In terms of explaining things in a linear fashion. I can obviously do things in a linear fashion, but I have a hard time with that. But at some point, I'd like to create a course that would be like that. But in general, figure out what you want to do and just move forward, because it is easier to go down a path and realize that you've made a mistake and backtrack than it is to not pick a path to go down. So the solace that you can take is, even if you take the wrong path in the face of ambiguity and not knowing which path is right, you will gain knowledge and experience go down the wrong path. So let's say you do what I wouldn't recommend, and you decide that you're going to develop command line tools in Ruby. You're going to learn programming. It doesn't matter that it's in Ruby. You're learning the thought patterns and you're doing stuff. Look at that. So the only change that I made, by the way, I'm just pointing this out, I switched from jumbo packets, because if you have gigabit internet, you should be able to use jumbo packets, back to standard MTU size packets at the network layer, which is something that nobody's going to come across. But and now everything's working just fine. It was the jumbo packets, ladies and gents, jumbo packets. Anyway, so that aside, yeah. So just pick a path and go down it. There's a video. It's a religious video called Wrong Roads. It's actually not that religious, but I'm going to link to it because I think that it is quite a good video. It's a 3.5 minute video. It's actually produced by my church, and it is about making decisions in life. Hey, Yo Rune, what's up? But anyway, I think that this helps with analysis paralysis. And I don't often say proselyte on the channel. That's not. I am happy to talk about religion when it comes up, and I'm happy to share my beliefs. But I'm not much of a proselyter. However, I will say I think that whether you believe in God or not, if you meditate on a problem, just take a minute or 30 seconds. I call this prayer. To pose in your mind, perhaps to the higher power, this is what I'm thinking. This is the path that I want to go down. This is with my reason and my intellect seems to be a good choice. I'm going to go this direction. If it's not a good direction, stop me or provide me an alternative. And that's kind of what this video is about. Although if you don't take it in the religious respect, if you just take it in the respect of just how to make choices in life and avoid analysis paralysis, you can look at it any way you want. So just to be clear, whatever way you want to look at it, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater if you happen to not be a religious person. Okay, so let me now catch up now that I've gone on my monologue here. Well, this has been taking 5 minutes to install, which is great because it means that it's likely going to work. Well, I guess it could fail at the end, but it looks like everything's working. So anyway, I'm going to go catch up on comments here. I guess it was just Yorun and Sassy joined in. So hey to both of you. Welcome. Nice to see you again. Yorun, I think, let's see, today's Thursday. I'm going to have the meetup tonight. I'm probably not going to get to those pull requests until Saturday. So sorry for the delay, but that's what I'm going to schedule for is Saturday. Saturday, I want to go back to the PayPal payments, and I want to get those pull requests and other issues on Webby, wrapping up more of those. So, and I have a meeting today at some time. I need to go check the time real quick to make sure that I don't miss out. Oh, crap. You know what? It is actually right now. Oops. I need to go check my messages. And my phone's probably dead. Okay, so I'm going to have to hop off here. Because I totally forgot about this. But I'll be back on later, and it looks like this is going well. Give me just a second here, because I have to I have to confirm. I'm so bad about meetings. Oh. Sorry, didn't see. For some reason, my calendar notification didn't go off. Are y'all still available? I can hop on now. So I'm gonna see what I get back from that, and I'm probably gonna have to end this and get back, get into that meeting. Yeah, I'm so bad about meetings and stuff, so I can never remember when anything's happening. Not to save my life. Oh, I gotta check some other stuff too. All right, cool. All right, I've got to hop off. So sorry about this. I had a meeting that I thought it was later in the day, but apparently it already started. So I got to go. I'll be back. And yeah, we'll see. I'll leave whatever's here on the screen up on the screen. So when I restart the session in about probably half an hour, 45 minutes, we can just go from there. Gosh, this is taking a long time. Ugh. I'm definitely going to need a way to... Oh. Uh-oh, that's not good. Column count doesn't match value count at row 1. Uh-oh. Okay, so we got a problem there. That's probably because the database has changed. And I'm going to need to... this is going to suck trying to get the databases matched up because sometimes we alter the table and do something. Anyway, I got to do all that later. I got to go. Thanks for joining in. Thumbs up if you got them. Thumbs down if you don't. I'll be back on in probably about 45 minutes. Fingers crossed. Have a great day. Morning, noon, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I hope to catch you in about 45 minutes or so. Adios.